we are again, folks. Happy Friday. Today is February 28th, 2024, 2025. See what's happening. But it's the last day of February. This is another great day, Art, we end up on these wonderful days. Last day of February, spring is in the air. No, it's not. It's going to be 84 here if it isn't already. So all you other guys out there, haha. We have today some guests. We always try and bring you guys the coolest stuff. And we've been talking about this for boy, Art, it seems like at least months.
Many months.
Yeah, scanning is the new black or whatever because it's gotten more popular with end users. And then what was it, 2 weeks ago or was it 3 weeks ago? We were talking about the Iron Mountain thing, which we'll get into, right?
Yep.
Fed right into what we've been talking about for months is like, print volumes may be going down, but scans should be at least maintaining, if not going up, because we're going to try and capture once and for all everything that's been on paper and digitize it, stuff like that. So we've got a couple guests in today that we're going to talk about that. Art, anything new that I know you're not feeling well, but throw some stuff out. Anything happened this week in the copier industry of note? Off the bat, I can't think of anything.
Really didn't have that much time to catch up. I was 3 days in a show in Atlantic City.
Oh, that's right.
Last week, and I believe that's where I caught my illness, dealing with all the attendees and shaking hands and doing all that fun stuff.
Well, okay, real quick, wide format, right? It looked like a pretty good show. It looked like there were people there.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was about 500 people.
Oh, okay.
We showed our kit wide format machine. We showed our integration with our Ricoh collaboration screen, and then had a couple of demos, scanning wide format documents and turning them, putting them into DocuWare.
Into DocuWare, cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's
yeah.
cool.
So that worked out well. Not as many attendees as the previous year because it's almost every 2 years they have to go back and get certification, and we were on and off year. But still, we probably generated probably 15, 18 suspects. Included in that was a couple of prospects. But going to these shows, it's more about always being there, and it's the long-term play that counts.
All right, cool.
So otherwise, industry-wise, I really haven't been up to date with getting back from AC, and just feeling lousy the last couple of days.
Sorry to hear that. Drink some bourbon, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right after the show.
All it is, yeah. Let's see, our resident Shmee, Kevin Neal, what's up? Anything new in your wonderful world of Shmeeness?
Well, I did see the Iron Mountain news, so I do want to talk about that because, as we talked about on the last show, I think was Iron Mountain. I think back in the 80s, they tried to digitize, or it had a digitization project, and I read it cost $100 million or $130 million, and it failed for whatever reason. So they had all these boxes and stuff. But then I just saw a headline that like they did all the digitization in 2 days now. So I didn't see I need to confirm that, but I did see a headline. So
wow, yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
But because they were showing these pictures, they were showed a pallet of bankers boxes, and that was for one employee retiring. So the amount of paper that they had to scan was like tremendous. But I don't know, the technology has evolved, or the will to get it done.
Well, that
was important, and there was some pressure probably applied to the OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, to do something. So it was kind of it just shows that, as you said, Greg, like the scanning's important and scanning's critical, and it can be done. It's not complicated, it's not expensive as it was back in the 1980s when they had their original project. So yeah, it's exciting to see that.
Do you think they really got that done in a couple of days? I saw the same news blast about that.
Let's ask Scott or Hari, because they're the experts on
production
scanning and know the kind of volumes that can be done.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll tell you off the bat, it takes a lot longer to remove those staples and paper clips than to actually scan the document. So the technology has gotten so much better on the scanning side. Our latest model is 150 pages per minute. I've been selling scanners with Kevin and working with Hari for over 25 years. Kevin and I actually shared a sales desk back at a reseller, a distributor, in 1993.
Oh,
Back then, we were selling Kodak scanners.
He was going to say Kodak scanners.
oh wow, yeah. I was getting to the good part.
Yeah.
Now that technology, our latest model here at Ricoh is under $15,000 for 150 pages per minute. So the technology's better, it's less expensive, the image enhancement's better, and now we've got generative AI to actually harvest all the information off the document. So there's just a lot more reasons to scan. So if you're selling MFPs out there, there's some great reasons to supplement those MFPs with some dedicated document scanners to really give your customers the best solution out there.
Cool. Cool. And we kind of stepped ahead. So Scott and Hari, Scott, why don't you give, at least for me, a brief introduction, who you are, what you do, the 30-second
You got it.
input. Yeah.
So I've been selling scanners all my adult life. I got my first scanner at a computer fair back in the late 80s. It was a parallel interface. It was the type of scanner where you scanned half the side of the book at a time and it would stitch the image together.
Hmm.
I got a job at Lost Cypress Distributing in 1990. I was there for 9 years. That's where I met and worked with Kevin. I then went to Fujitsu and started manufacturing scanners. So I went from a distributor to a manufacturer. That's where I met Hari. He had just joined Kofax. He was at FileNet before that. And been with Fujitsu for 25 years, at least the last 22 of those with Fujitsu, and now we're with Ricoh. Ricoh bought our division. We are proud to be part of Ricoh. We're a separate division reporting up into their Ricoh Digital Products Group. But again, I've just been selling scanners or imagers, as we used to call them back in the 90s.
So your position there is in sales, or are you channel development, or dealer relate? What is your or
I'm the
technical?
tech evangelist. So I've done all kinds of different things in my career, from sales, business development, product management. I've launched over 65 scanners, but my current role is tech evangelist. I get to talk to customers. I get to figure out what do they need. I help salespeople sell our technology to products. I routinely join sales calls
There we go.
with MFP resellers, talking to their end users. I go to conferences, I write blogs, pretty much whatever I need to do to help promote our technology.
Okay. All right. What about this Iron Mountain thing? What strikes you about that issue?
Well, when I think about Iron Mountain, the problem with storing your documents is you're not gaining insight from them, right? So documents in a box aren't doing anyone any good. And having been in this business for a long time, the focus is always on compliance, which is important, and records management. But one of the main tenets of records management is that you should purge your documents as soon as you're able to. I think that's counterproductive to information technology. We all want to reduce our business risk, which is the reason why we're supposed to purge documents. But I'm all about maintaining information. We can certainly anonymize documents.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh.
Without speaking about the direct details of this week's updates, is getting it. They are finding ways to give new value to their customers, and it's all about scanning documents and now taking advantage of large language model databases and generative AI to actually get business intelligence in real time. It's a huge game changer.
So if I understand you correct, and I believe you, so in the olden days, archiving was just a way to throw, paper files into a digital file cabinet. And if you ever had to look it up, it was there, right? But that was the primary reason. And I hear what you're saying. No one really dug deep into those because they were archives, right? They weren't active databases of information or data that could be turned into information at that point. And I think I heard what you're, and I see your point is that we're scanning all those things and that has got to be a treasure trove of just, even if it's just meta information, it's huge, right?
It's
I mean,
huge.
yeah, it's,
Think about it. So let's say I've got a content management system and I can quickly retrieve 20 or 50 documents.
mhm.
I can retrieve those documents. I can study them. I probably print them out, put them all on my desk, go through them, and I can analyze that information and come up with some conclusions about the business intelligence that I need. That's a long process, and most people aren't going to do that at all. But if I can now do a Copilot search of my SharePoint archives and get a real-time answer of Copilot going through 20 documents, 50 documents, 5,000 documents in real time, now I've got business intelligence that's going to allow me to make better decisions, faster decisions. Those decisions are going to have better business outcomes. They're going to save my business money, better customer service. This is what is basically on the near-term horizon. And that's why companies need to care about not purging documents, but let's scan them, let's secure them, and let's get all we can from them.
Good point. All right. I hate that we kind of jumped over Hari. Hari, are you there? You want to give a quick intro of what you do and where you fit into this Hollywood Squares picture?
Sure. Sorry about my video here. If I
Right.
turn on my video, it's gonna freeze. So I've had this problem for a while. I'm in a place where the internet connection's not that great.
You sound
Uh,
great.
I gotta figure out how to switch to a different provider. But anyway, yeah, great to be here. As Scott said, I started a while ago with FileNet when they were a small company, actually. And then moved away for a little bit, but came back, started working at Kofax, um, and then moved on to Fujitsu, now Ricoh. I've been with Fujitsu slash Ricoh for 15 years now, and in fact, knew both Kevin and Scott prior to that when I was at Kofax, so we go a long way. And at Fujitsu slash Ricoh, I've been primarily working on creating scanning applications as well as integrating scanning applications with various destinations. So Scott mentions SharePoint and Copilot. So we work with those applications as well. So we feed our documents and data into those systems for them to generate ultimately all the business intelligence that come out of those documents.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, good. I'm glad you're both here. And I might take the ball on this one, guys, because I have a ton of questions for both of you or for the whole scanning thing. And it goes everywhere from developing your presence in the dealer channel, which I'd really like to hear how you guys are going to try and do that. And then also dive into the Copilot, the LLM, how you guys are charging for tokens and all the usage and stuff like that. I think it's a great idea. I'm really glad that you brought it up organically, that you're trying to get the data out of the stuff that we've been scanning in for years. And then you're right. The biggest, hardest thing was we got to index it so we can go find it 5 years from now if we ever need to. But we don't ever think we're going to need to. Speaking of Iron Mountain, I think I might have sold Iron Mountain tape backup systems. Did they have tape backup systems? Emerald, Iron Mountain. Yeah.
Probably at some point in time.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
were selling exabyte back in the day. That's the
Exabyte.
one I remember.
Oh, yeah, I was implementing them on Electra nets. You guys remember that? I hope you don't. I hope you don't. So let's start with the easy stuff. I know that you're part of the Ricoh clan now for a few years. How are you guys trying to develop your presence in the dealer channel? Give me the nuts and bolts of it. If I'm a brand new if I'm a dealer that is no, I'm a Ricoh dealer. Let's put it that way. Ricoh is one of my lines, but I don't have a clue beyond that when it comes to scanning stuff. How are you guys going out and beating the bushes, finding those prospects for you, and then what kind of incentives and things? How are you developing that channel, that dealer channel?
Great question. So we've been partners with Ricoh going back to the days of Icon Office Systems. So the MFP channel has always been a key group of resellers for Fujitsu and now Ricoh. We are a separate company within the Ricoh spectrum. So Ricoh USA reports up into RDS, we're RDP, but we work with them closely. And we work with Ricoh USA, we work with Ricoh dealers, we work with dealers on the independent side across the spectrum. So the key here is education. We've got to be able to show copy dealers the necessity to sell document scanners. And the first point is, after the customer has purchased all the MFPs they're going to buy, as a copy dealer, you have an opportunity to supplement them with dedicated document scanners. And they fit in two primary areas. The first is on the desk where documents come into the organization. They're small, they're at arm's reach, they're quick, they're easy to use, and they do a great job of producing image quality that's recognition ready, that's going to work in all of these next generation AI. Yep. Is anywhere where they're doing backfile conversion. If their customers are converting boxes of documents into searchable PDF files, our production scanners are perfect. If they've got a BPO operation, if they've got any use case where they're scanning a lot of documents. So what we do is we will help our copy dealers with education, with eval units. We'll join them on sales calls. We have sales engineers. We've got a variety of resources. We've got rebate programs to enhance their margin to make them successful. And then also our software integrations. So Hari heads up all of our software integrations, and some of our latest integrations are with DocuWare, right? So Art, you were just talking about showing off DocuWare last week. We love DocuWare. We've got a great integration where our scanning software can scan directly to not only a document tray, but a file cabinet as well. We can leverage DocuWare's intelligent document processing, intelligent indexing. We can use our own metadata. So having the integrations into software applications that BTR dealers are using right now is another key way to help us help these partners sell to their customers.
Okay. So, all right, I'm trying to grab, all that sounds great. And, I'll be brutally honest, it's the same thing that we said in 2001, right? Same thing, because if you have someone with a bunch of boxes with scanners or with documents that need to be scanned in, backroom scanning, backfill, all that, smart indexing, I got that. But I'm curious now, and I think you mentioned that the good ones are down around 15K. So that at least opens up SMB and medium-sized businesses. Where's the use case beyond smart indexing, and even what was it, DocuWare? I mean, that's not a cheap alternative either. So that's kind of a more expensive alternative in terms of cash and then labor to install and all that. So is there a match for an SMB? Is, hey, because if I'm a down the street copier rep and I'm selling 5 copiers a month, I don't know if that fits into your perfect profile or not, and I've got someone saying, hey, you got to go out and sell scanning, I'm going to need something more than just, hey, we've got MDF, we can educate your customers. I need a use case, right? I mean, beyond the government. So where is a good fit in terms of, say, like an industry or a niche today that would lend itself to what you guys are talking about?
Yeah, so
Make
it's
sense?
really,
Okay.
yeah, no, great questions, Greg. It's just about understanding, helping the copy dealer understand their customer and each of their customers uniquely. So the elimination of paper is that first, we look at that maturity model. That's where we're going to start right there. If they're storing paper in the office, how much does that office space cost per square foot? If they're storing documents at Iron Mountain, it probably isn't that expensive, but when they're retrieving documents,
Yeah.
there's a big cost to that. How often are those employees looking for files in that file cabinet? So we're just going to start with the basic stuff, which is let's digitize that paper and let's help those customers on the hard cost of document storage. And then let's focus on things like the soft cost of productivity because they're trying to find information. Let's look at the soft cost of customer service when they lose information or they can't find it. Level one, we're going to scan those files to the network. And we've got great capture software with our PaperStream Capture Pro application that's going to scan a searchable PDF. We can scan those to the network. And then we're going to look at level two, which is a system like DocuWare. And DocuWare is cloud-based, so we're not going to have the cost of storage. We're not going to have the server cost. We're not going to have the IT cost. It's really a solution that copy dealers out there can certainly sell. And beyond DocuWare, Laserfiche is another great solution out there. Microsoft SharePoint, we've got integrations to all of them. Maybe the customer's already using SharePoint, but there's certainly a maturity model. And what we typically see is the customer may start with scanning files to the network, but as they get it, they understand the benefit of it. They understand the benefit of being able to access their information when they're working from the home office or another location. Then they're ready to graduate to that next system. So it's probably not from 0 to 60 miles an hour in step one, but there's a great progression. But now our document scanners have come down in price, not just our production models, but you can buy our FI 8170 for about $1,000.
Okay.
It's going to scan all the documents that are coming into that small organization.
Right.
And they're going to get all it's going to pay for itself within a matter of months. And that's going to make those systems work better. And now they're ready for more.
Okay. So I get it. So that answers my question there. You do have the entry level, not the entry level. You have that price point that would do it. So if I'm a rep, I walk into an office and if there's filing cabinets, they're a prospect, I'm guessing, because they're storing. Do you find, and I don't know, but are small medical locations and clinics and things, are they still viable, or has that been kind of captured by someone else? How about, well, anyone who has a service department, service contracts, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Medical
right?
is huge. So the second answer outside of look for file cabinets is ask about paper-based business processes and then follow that paper. And you've got a solution that you can prescribe to make those business processes faster and more accurate. We are huge in medical, not just the hospitals, but in clinics, small doctors' offices. When people come into that doctor's office, they're going to do that registration and they need to capture all of those documents. So when it comes time to send those documents to the insurance company for billing reimbursement, they've got all of that information. They've got the insurance card, they've got the ID, everything that's necessary for them to interact with other healthcare organizations, necessary for that reimbursement by the insurance company.
Yeah.
And that's going to reduce things like bad debt. They thought they had everything they needed to get reimbursed by the insurance company, but they get rejected. When they're doing high quality document scanning on the front end, that's not happening. So it's just about asking those questions, and that's going to lead our dealers to find a clear ROI for our technology.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have what's a perfect profile for a dealer? Is it one of our megas, or is it, 50
really
billion and
is
below, or
Yeah, it's dealers of all size because we've got small business solutions all the way up to the enterprise. So the perfect dealer is the one that's got a good on-site relationship with their customers. If they've got a relationship with DocuWare, for instance, that's
Okay.
going to up the scale because now they can really offer that turnkey workflow, archive retrieval, intelligent document indexing. They can really offer all of that, but we'll work with dealers of all sizes because we've got products of all sizes and scalable solutions.
So that brings us now you're probably very aware of this. Our channel's been moving to IT services, right? That's what everyone says. I don't know how many people are actually doing it, But is there a play there with a pure with someone who is, I mean, can you go in at the IT angle versus the document management and copier sales? Does that
Yeah,
make
so
sense? Okay.
there is certainly a play for operations. There is a play for IT. There's a play for line of business. And so all those are viable. But when we think, as a copy dealer, think about it. If you're just selling copy machines, you are susceptible to being replaced by another dealer, another manufacturer.
They're
But
selling
when
fax
you're
machines too.
and fax machines as well. When you are selling document scanning solutions, you're increasing your value to the customer. You're becoming that trusted advisor. And when you do that, you've got a long-term partnership. Scanning solutions are going to drag in professional service and software opportunities. So now it's not just about talking about lease agreements for MFP, software services, consulting, and those long-term relationships.
Right. Very good.
Hey, I was gonna add, we
Go
can
ahead, Howard.
fax too. So our scanners can be used for faxing purposes as well. And Scott's actually going to be demonstrating our fax capability at HIMSS next week.
At Hims, huh? Where's
Yeah.
Hims at this year? Is it in Chicago or?
We're in Vegas again.
Oh,
I think
geez.
Chicago was last year. They've all kind of blended together for me these days, but we'll be in Vegas this year. And you brought up fax, Hari brought up fax. It's important because it's HIPAA compliant.
Oh yeah.
So it's a key way to exchange information from healthcare organization A to B, from healthcare organization to insurance companies. So our fax solutions are great because you get all the benefits of document scanning. If they're using a solution like Etherfax on both sides, we can send full color documents. It's not just about
Yeah,
black
right.
and white. It's not what you're used to faxing. You can now have full color content. We make it easy. I mean, that's one thing I should talk about more. We know that, ordinary knowledge workers, they've got a day job already. They don't want to be product hardware experts. They just want to load documents, hit a button, and have everything done for them. And that's one of the biggest changes in our technology is our intelligent image processing, and our scanning workflows are all single touch button driven. You can program all of the logic behind the scanners, the workflow, the destination. But after that's done, it's just a single button to make all that happen.
All right, interesting. I do want to move on to another subject, but Kevin, you brought up let's segue, but let's talk about.
Let me jump in for a sec.
Yeah, please do, Art.
So, Scott, when you're out looking for these scanners, I know that your scanners are FADGI compliant. So what type of companies are we looking for that would have to be compliant with FADGI for their scanning needs?
Anyone submitting documents to the National Archives or any agency that will be doing that in the future. So we've got great FADGI solutions, and we have a unique product line because our FADGI solutions start at $1,000 and go all the way up to our top model at $15,000.
Can you guys describe what FAGI is?
I was just going to ask that.
So FADGI is the new standard that's been developed by the National Archives. So essentially what they want is a way to ensure that images come in to their organization that have the best recognition. So FADGI stands for Federal Agencies Digital Guidelines Initiatives. But what that is, it's basically a requirement based on image quality, file format, file compression, that it meets a quality level. So the National Archives doesn't have to store paper. They can reliably store a digital image that has the true fidelity of the document.
Wow.
Right. And there's different, I think, classifications on that, 2, 3, and 4 for FADGI compliant. So what type of companies have to send documents to the National Archives? Are there engineers? Are there architects? Are there people who design bridges, design roadways? Help us out on that. So as a salesperson, I would know what to look for.
Exactly. So you're talking to a federal agency that has to submit those documents to the National Archive. And it's not just every document, it's typically documents that are related to records. Now, the FADGI policy right now is based on specific records, but it's going to expand in the future. So if you're a dealer out there and you're talking to a federal agency, you want to start right away with that qualifying question. Are you sending documents to the National Archive? If the answer is yes,
Got it.
you got a great FADGI conversation. If you're talking to a company that's working with one of those federal agencies,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
as a subcontractor,
Yeah.
that same line of questioning pertains.
So while we're on that, how about how does NARA change the compliance?
So for NARA, instead of storing paper documents, they're now going to be storing digital images. So this is a huge game changer, right? So this is going to allow them to make those documents more available, but they're really the ones driving that policy. So this is going to make our government more efficient. It's going to help NARA manage their data better.
Okay.
And as important, it's going to help them preserve information longer.
So with the it would be historical data, and would it be drawings, pictures, stuff that goes back 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that needs to go to National Archives?
Yeah, even stuff that has been archived recently as the last year. So anything that is being stored, basically the way it worked is as of last June, that was your last chance as a government agency to send paper, or at least book an appointment to send papers into the National Archive. After that date, if you haven't already pre-booked an appointment, if you will, to send those documents in, you now have to send them in digitally. So it's any document that you're archiving that's going to NARA.
Right. So do any businesses actually need to comply with FADGI? I'm thinking architects, engineers, but somebody
I think
building it like a 200-story skyscraper.
I think anyone that's working with a government agency is a subcontractor. I'm not aware personally of if you're a civil engineering firm and you're just basically meeting state requirements, for instance, county
Okay.
requirements. However, a lot of our government consultants have speculated that the FADGI requirement will actually trickle out to the states. So it's probably a good idea if you're buying a imaging system now, why not buy a FADGI compliant scanner if you're going to be using it for the next 10 years? Kind of future-proof yourself for those environments.
Understood. So I'm going to move away for a second. I want to get into a press release, or I'm not sure if it was a press release, it was some information I received on my website. And since I'm still in MFP sales and IT sales and everyday sales and down the street, I had something to come up that Ricoh announced the new A3 MFP series that features PFU technology. You familiar with that?
It depends on the model, but I believe what you're talking about is what we like to call a Mopier product that combines our...
Did you say Mopier?
He said
Yes,
Mopier. You can't say Mopier.
It's basically combining the best of both solutions. We've got a high-speed Ricoh printer integrated with our FI 7700, which is a high-speed document scanner with a 300-page ADF,
Right.
and also a double-letter flatbed. And the optics on that scanner are basically optimized not just for archive to digital image, but for scan to print as well.
Oh.
And
Yep.
actually, we've been doing this for a long time. So
Wow.
when we were Fujitsu, we had several products based on this footprint. The current product that we now have with Ricoh is our 6th generation. It's our 8000 series or 7000 series for this specific model. So faster technology, you mentioned A3. It's a full A3 12 by 18 product.
Right.
It's got that flatbed as well as that 300-page ADF.
Wow.
Wow.
I'd like to see, yeah, it'd be cool to see a few pictures of it. I'm trying to imagine that in my mind, what it would look like.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. And
Scanner on the
so,
top, printer on the bottom.
yeah, a real life scanner though, too, not
So
like little
is
things.
that's only available, I guess, in Asia market right now?
So I'm not aware of the exact details of that yet. You'd have to
Okay.
give me the model number and look it up. But yeah, the concept is right there. And this is the best of both worlds, right? So I think there's a great fit for dedicated scanners throughout the organization. There's also a great fit for these hybrid devices in central locations where people are walking up to interact with them. Ricoh, with its RSI interface, for instance, has some great technology. Point and shoot those documents to different locations, including printing, faxing, copying. So I really think this is a great culmination of our technology.
I like what you said. Did you say scan to print? Was that what one of your
Scan
phrases?
to print, it's a thing.
That's a good idea. Wow. And when you say Mopier, the reason we were chuckling is because I know right? That's an old HP word.
Yes.
And the Mopiers
It just, for me, it kind of
challenging.
it transcended just HP. It kind of became just a noun to me.
Well, very good. Yeah. But I still get delayed stress. Let's just say that. And don't mention Edgeline.
Oh, we love it, Jillian, right?
We love Edge. I sold more Edge lines than anyone else. But anyway, so go ahead, Art. I didn't mean to jump in.
No, I think that was
That is very,
that was
I
my
didn't know
three
all that
questions.
National Archive stuff. That's pretty cool. I like that. And then you're right. It trickled down to the state, then it'll go down to the county, then it'll go down to the city. It'll be everywhere. And it's very interesting. I find that interesting. Okay. Kevin, weren't you going to talk about something to do with Iron Mountain?
No, I kind of said
Okay.
my piece that
Right,
they but I do have to add some color to what Scott said, is that it's interesting, the best of breeds, combining what what PFU has done with the existing Ricoh stuff. So it's combining, like Scott said, the good printing engines with the scanner. So the dedicated scanners, especially the PFU scanners, were known for excellent paper handling. So thin paper and thick paper, and rarely ever or never jams. With MFPs, the feeding mechanism was kind of less than desirable. That was always one thing that
Nice
we
way to
could
say
sell
it.
against. So, and the straight paper path of the design just is conducive to excellent paper handling. And then the software integration is really good for great image quality, because dedicated scanners are usually used for recognition, for OCR and for computer vision. So you need really good crisp image quality, because the worst thing you don't want to have bad image quality. So they have PaperStream IP to do that. And then the integration of both the expertise in scanning with the expertise in copiers really brings it together. It was and I think the relation, or the acquisition was only less than 2 years ago. So to see the harmonizing of the technologies together is pretty good.
Actually is pretty good. Yeah. Hey, let's talk about because you mentioned artificial intelligence. Okay. And then I know it's 20 minutes left. So tell me what you mean by AI. You mentioned Copilot, so I'm assuming it's a Microsoft solution set, correct? That you're working with them on that, or how does that work?
So yeah, so the way that we work is we create recognition ready images, and then we provide the pipeline to Microsoft, Google, Amazon, industry people like Abby, Tungsten Automation, whatever solution you need. So our job is to capture that image quickly and securely and increase the image quality to increase the OCR recognition, which produces a clean text layer, which then these AI services can ingest and then process using their AI. So we don't have the AI itself. What we have is the scan, image enhancement, and pipeline to those services. DocuWare. Now they've got the native AI for their intelligent document processing. So we make that technology better. So if you're a copy salesperson out there and your customer is using AI, by putting our scanners on the front end, you're actually going to increase the performance of those systems.
Okay. So it's more than AI compliant. I see what you're saying. Okay. AI enhanced or enhanced for better AI, actually, right? That's probably a good way to
Much
put it.
better.
Yeah.
Yes. And our technology has AI in itself, but AI means a lot of things to a lot of people. So for instance, our intelligence image quality has adaptive thresholding. So that's another technology that Hari has championed. We're able to look at a document, and for every document in the batch, we're looking at different parts of the document, and we're using intelligence to figure out brightness and contrast settings to deliver the best image. So it's not AI in the sense of generative AI, but it is actual intelligence that's actually able to make that image better. Our latest product can do handprint recognition.
Right.
And that's based on technology that can understand the variances in how people write. Your printed letter A might be different from Art's, different from Hari's or Kevin's. So our technology uses intelligence to understand the variances in handwriting, and that produces better handwriting recognition accuracy.
Right.
Yeah, I want to jump in for 1 second. I just want to backtrack before I lose my train of thought. I'm going to share my screen. And Scott, what do you think? This is the next, how can I say, what's the word I'm looking for? First, I'm looking to share my screen.
Yeah,
That would help. Come on.
you could do it.
I can do it.
There we go.
Is this the way
There you go.
all MFPs are going to go in the future?
Look at you. What is that?
Interesting.
That's the picture of the base 60, 45, 30 page minute color machine with the Fujitsu, whatever model it is, on top. They can do up to, I'm thinking, Scott, it's going to be able to do up to 12 by 18 scanning as well, correct?
Yeah, if that's the model I'm thinking of, the answer is yes. Now, I'm not familiar with this model, so I'm going to look it up as we talk. But
yeah,
if it's what I'm discussing, it is definitely a great MFP of the future.
Yeah, that's pretty. So that ADF, I'm going to call it that just because what I'm used to. Right, Art? Am I looking at that whole top unit?
Oh yeah. There's a better. I think there's a better. There it is. There's a closer picture here.
Does it have dual scanners?
Yeah. No. It's replacing the Ricoh DADFs for the Fujitsu, and then I'm sure it's got all of that Fujitsu software embedded in the OS.
Sure, but it looks like it has, because it does. How does it work? It doesn't look like it's going over a platen or anything, right?
It doesn't have to. It only has to go over a slit exposure.
Okay, so it's going over a slit, but is it a single slit or is it a dual? How do they duplex?
Well, so there's a dual camera system. Now, I would need to defer to Ricoh USA or Ricoh Asia for details on this specific product, but the concept we're talking about is our FI 7700 as a top end for an MFP. And in this example, there would be a dual camera system, and the blue graphic would actually be showing the paper path of that paper going through the scanner.
Right.
On our model, there's a 300-page ADF, 100-page per minute scanning speeds, and so it really is a great solution.
It looks like it's multiple sizes too. I mean, is that how that works?
So up to double letter. And then our scanners, of course, do auto size detection. Kevin talked about the ability to scan a variety of paper weights in the same batch. So that's just an example of what our technology can do.
Yeah, and for anybody who's not familiar with double letter means 1117.
And we can actually go 12 by 18, but yes.
Okay. So I'm going to
Oh,
stop
there it
sharing
is.
my.
Multiple sizes in one batch, it looks like.
And the benefit here is the operator's not having to change settings. We're just automatically detecting every document in the batch, even if there are different page sizes in the same batch. We're doing auto duplex. And what that means is we're removing blank pages. We're capturing both sides and removing those blank pages. All of our document scanners can do that. It's just one less thing that the employee doesn't have to do.
Well, I don't get excited about copiers much, but that scanner thing looks really good. I like the idea that it's as because I mean, as far as I remember in the olden days, the ADFs were the weakness of all the copiers, right? That's where the jams took place usually. That's where everything and you couldn't use it as an industrial quote unquote scanner. It would be like a one-off scanner. And is it a did you say how many pages can you put in that scanner? You didn't say
Well,
300, did
the
you?
scanner
No.
I'm talking about, our FI 7700, can hold 300 pages at 20-pound paper.
And that's what the standard Ricoh ADFs are. I think they're 220 pages right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
That is interesting.
are these the MFPs of the future for Ricoh?
Well, it's a question for Ricoh USA or Ricoh
Yeah.
Asia, but as a scanner guy, we think this is the technology for document scanning. And we think Ricoh makes great MFPs and great printers. So you can certainly imagine how that technology melds together.
I think it is as well because it adds so much scanning. How can I say?
It's robust.
It's robust, but it offers the customer, the client, to do so much more with their scanning
one.
process, right? So I'm sure there's now I'm going to go back to Kevin, right? So Kevin, maybe we talk about is there a possibility for TWAIN Direct to be used?
There is absolutely, PFU and Ricoh are both, they use existing TWAIN technology in a lot of their products, and they could use TWAIN Direct as well, for sure. But to your point, Art, is that dedicated scanners often are more tightly integrated with line of business software applications. They're used for mission critical applications that you need to get a document in, get the data into a workflow quickly without typing. So that's why the software integration and the drivers that they develop are very conducive for ISVs to come in and say, hey, you know what? I either want to create an integration to them or they can create an integration to us. So you'll see that dedicated scanners and the software that they've developed and putting on those types of machines or with their scanners allows for this kind of good integration. So whether the actual technology to drive the scanner is a TWAIN Direct or they have their own NX Manager protocol, so it could be either one of those, But the point of getting in an image and then integrating into software applications is really where dedicated scanners really shine.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the look of that and the idea of that robust ADF, I'll call it, on top of a copier. But a dedicated scanner is really what we're looking at because is a real solution. I mean, that's nice. Actually, it's pretty cool, but 300 page, yeah, it's pretty good. But I would still say if I were still selling, you go in and say, well, yeah, the copier's the copier. The scanner is for this, and it will add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different benefits to that and cut costs and all that. So I would be going at that route. Wow. We're coming to the tail end, but I still want to cover if say I had, I don't know, a dozen Ricoh dealers that do not sell many scanners right now, right? And we're talking offline, at a show after all, at the bar or over dinner, and they ask me, hey, what should we be doing? And I bring up, what would I tell them, right? In terms of, hey, you should try these dedicated scanners, and this is why I could go through my repertoire, but you're a Ricoh dealer, you should already know this. This is in the back of my head. Because I'm being real personal here. I do talk to a bunch of these Ricoh dealers that are independents, and the visibility on the scanner side isn't that high. what should
Great.
be my talk track?
Yeah, Greg brings up an important thing because I work for a larger Ricoh dealer, and we uh, really don't hear from. I love our DSM; he's a great guy, but he's really not doing much education on scanners available for the PFU line.
Yeah, so awesome question. So first, Ricoh Document Scanners is the place to start. But if you're having that conversation, let's say you're having a bourbon and we're talking about business challenges. If you're an MFP dealer, you've got issues with revenue growth. I mean, we all do. So that first question is, do you want a way to increase your revenue and margin? And we all know that selling more to your existing customers is less expensive than finding new customers. We
They
all
know
want to
that.
find new
Yeah,
customers,
we know
right?
that. Absolutely.
Right?
That,
So
yeah.
that's step one. Step two is you don't have to invest tens of thousands of dollars in order to be able to sell Ricoh document scanners. You're looking for a low cost of barrier to enter. So we have an outside sales team backed up by inside reps and sales engineers on the scanner side. So again, we're a separate company from Ricoh USA, but we work closely with them. They're one of our best partners. But as an independent copy dealer, you can interface directly with us, and we're gonna show you how to sell. We're gonna place evaluation units on your behalf. We're gonna give you margin enhancement programs that make this worth your while. So this is really a very low cost in order to be able to offer your customers a whole lot more. And like we talked about before, if you can pull this off, you're going to elevate yourself in those accounts. And there's a great proposition for revenue, margin, customer satisfaction, which is going to lead to more referrals. And the best part is we'll make it easy for you. So
I think,
that's
Scott,
really what I want them to know.
the guys I talk to already feel that your whole talk track that you just said, yeah, they're in, want to grow sales. Scanners are the way to do it. That, everything you want to add more value to your relationship and get into an account and grow. So I guess I'm asking more tactical and mechanical things. I mean, how do they reach out to you? So you're separate than Ricoh. I'm glad we said that. Almost at a competitive, almost. But if I've got 6 or 7 dudes that say, "Hey, yeah, I don't want to do this one. I don't want to do the Epson. I don't want to do the." Does Panasonic still sell scanners or whatever?
No, you would
All
go
right.
for Kodak Alaris.
Kodak, which is
Right.
now those guys are getting a lot of press, but I don't want to do that. But if there is someone who is aligned with Ricoh, I already trust the Ricoh, but I understand they're not part of Ricoh. How do I engage those guys? Let's get them out here and let's talk about it. How does that work? Real basic stuff.
Yeah, so that's a real basic answer, right? So
Okay.
get us on the phone, and I'm going to give you a number to call. Get us on the phone, and let's go see some customers. Let's talk about answering some questions, doing some sales prospecting. Our number is 1-888-425-8228, and that's going to get you right to our sales team. You can go to RicohDocumentScanners.com and you can fill out a contact form. And when you do that, you're going to get hooked up with reps that are dedicated to sell scanners. They've got sales engineers. Again, we're going to give you all the tools you need to succeed. And our customer service, by the way, our net promoter score is about 89. It hovers between 89 and 90. And that means when you sell our products, we've got your back and will ensure customer satisfaction. So you can be proud selling Ricoh document scanners.
Are they available through distribution, or how does that side of the channel work?
Yes. So we work with New Wave Technologies, Tech Data Synex, and Ingram Micro. So everyone's got a relationship with at least one of those distributors.
Yep.
Our scanners are in stock in mass quantity. We know all of the ins and outs about how to be easy to do business with. We've got deal registration. We've got great back-end programs, fast responses.
On the service side, I don't need to have a technician certified in your line, or do I?
So what we provide is we have an on-site service program that they
Okay.
can sell
Okay.
where we become your sub. So you don't have to send people to training. You don't have to get spare parts. We're actually going to help you sell service programs where we become your sub. So you can provide full service while still making very healthy margins.
Okay. So if I rephrase, I don't need to stock any parts. I don't need any service, anything like that. Don't need to send a tech to be certified. Nothing.
So
We
Scott,
got you back.
how about the demo units? How does that work? Is there a certain limitation as to what you can ship out to a client for a trial?
So it just all depends on the relationship. So if you're a copy dealer today, you're watching this great podcast, call us up. Chances are we might just give you an eval unit for your showroom. Take us into a customer that's got a good project. We'll place an eval unit out there on your behalf. We've got easy to fill out forms. You know, we'll send an SE out to do an on-site demo with you. So you don't have to show up with your own product. We'll show up with you with that scanner. We'll do an on-site demonstration. We'll leave it behind. This is a key differentiation point between us and other scanner vendors.
Can you do virtual demonstration as well?
We do virtual demonstrations.
Okay.
I do about 5 or 10 each week. I've got the whole sales team doing the same thing. We'll walk you through our software. We'll walk you through our DocuWare integration. We'll show all those bells and whistles. We'll show them to your end users as well.
Just curious, what's the margin typical sales rep can look at when selling one of the units?
So when we look at hardware margins, you know, we're talking about into the teens just for the hardware. Now let's talk about the professional services, the software, the back-end rebates, all of that builds on those points.
Right, right. So that's all right as long as we know what we're dealing with at first, and then all the I guess I should have asked this. Is there an installation process? Do you guys know? Is it just plug and play and it'll work?
So for installation, now we have installation SKUs where our tech will come out, they'll unbox the scanner, connect it to USB. They'll sync up with our support team will install drivers, things like that. If the dealers want to do that themselves after we train them, it's easy to do. The technology is a lot easier to install and use than it used to be.
I'm sorry, Art, go ahead.
So Greg, once you get the scanner installed, there's no question about the additional solutions. There's no question about price of what that is. So in most cases, you can sell the solutions at MSRP. Then you can also build in hours for support for setting the system up, et cetera, et cetera. The key is to getting the scanner in.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a classic. It's classic. So yeah. All right. Which, you know, that's a separator there between a regular copier rep and a level 2 or 3 copier rep, right? Install and go. Okay, that's cool. All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah, great session. We're at the witching hour. We're at a little bit after 5 o'clock on Friday, the 28th, last day of February. And if I don't choke, I'm going to try and get through this. We want to thank everybody for coming on today. Hari, also Scott, Francis, all from PFU, our resident Shmee, right? Kevin Neal. And yeah, so I'm messing things up a little bit. Greg Walters. Always good to chat with Greg, and everybody please like, follow, and share. And we're going to be back next week. And like I said, if I don't get too under the weather, we're going to do our show from, I'll be in Orlando and Greg will be wherever he's in Florida.
I'll still be in Florida, Fort Myers. Yeah, and next week's actually going to be a big one, I think.
That's awesome.
Thank you, gentlemen.